All right, fellas, I want to get to it. We talked about it before the show. And sorry, just the Jeff's junk, man. It's just keep getting me.
Dude,
yeah.
all of these, I just keep saying things. It's just,
it is hilarious. Oh gosh. All right, we'll get to our season predictions. We're gonna go through, look at the line schedule, home, away. We don't know the weeks yet, but we'll look at the opponent. We'll break it down. We'll each give our opinion, how we feel like the game's gonna go. We're not gonna reveal our record until the end of this exercise. So we'll just kind of say it out loud, win, loss, whatever we think. We don't have to agree, but at the end, we'll each give out our record. So kind of tally your own as we go here. But I'm going to pull this up because we mentioned it the other day and how we think the Lions, I think me and Lucas, what do we say, 11, 12, and you felt you were a little more higher on just the schedule because of the 50-50 games, Boone. You said it could win maybe 13. They could get up there and get 13. So let's do an exercise, and the Bulge Army can participate. They can participate. The people participate, and let's do it. So we have the opponents. Right. We have the opponents here. As you can see, home, away, no weeks for next year. So we're going to go through. We're not going to, again, we don't know the weeks, but we're going to go from basically left to right. We're just going to go in order from what we see the teams and just kind of take it. We'll go through home, and then we'll go through away. So we'll start. We'll start with the home game, the first one on the list. Not saying it's week 1.
Yeah.
But the Chicago Bears at home.
Win. Oh, sorry. We're talking about it. My bad. I was ready to go. I hate the Bears. FTB.
The Bulge Army feels like it's 17-0 with the power of the Bulge, which, it's a fair argument.
Fair take,
I'm not going to hate on it completely. I think that Bears game at home, fellas, I'm going to go win. I'm going to go win there. So
I'm the same way. If I'm being honest too, I'm interested because do you guys remember 2 years ago when they started 1-6, finished 9-8, whatever the record was? Yeah, they were 5-1 in the division. And then last year, you're going into this last year, and you're like, oh, they could probably sweep the division. And what did they end up going? 4-2, maybe. I believe. I think they lost to the Bears and the Packers once. So it's we could be like, oh, well, you could win every division game. There's going to be some losses within it. I think they win at home. I know we're going to get to the Bears away, but I do think that's potential. The Bears could potentially be a split next year, just with the roster that they have right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think Caleb, as much as I like the prospect, like he's going to lose one. He's going to split with the Lions. Like and the Bears gave the Lions fits last year, but I think at home the Lions will win that game. So I'll go win. We'll move on. Packers at home. A little tricky. It's going to be a big game. And it could be potentially, what do you think? Maybe Thanksgiving? I don't know. We'll see.
That would be a good one, yeah. Rather have them than like the Bills or something again. Not even the Bills, they just lose stuff on, but some actual like legitimate team. I don't want to see the Lions play on Thanksgiving. I want one Thanksgiving win for once.
Who did we play last year on Thanksgiving?
I think it was the
Packers.
It was the Packers, so we will not play them.
That's when Jordan Love really started to fucking cook. That was like his coming out party for the season.
He opened up the game with a 40-yard bomb to Watson, and that's.
We're not going to play the Packers this year.
What was it, Boone?
We're not going to play the Packers on Thanksgiving. That won't happen.
Yeah,
it's going to be an AFC. It's going to be an AFC team. I think it's
give me the Texans.
That would be a good Thanksgiving home game.
Yeah, fuck.
You play them on the road. You play them on the road, though, Jeff. No, it can't be the Texans.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Jeff, I need you to lock in a little bit here, brother.
You're right.
I need you to lock in over there, brother. Come on.
The Bulge has me shook. All right, the Bulge Army's got me shook.
If I had to pick a game to guess that it would be, I would probably say it ends up being like the Jags or the Bills.
People are saying the Rams.
Hey, you got a home game
again, fellas. Mm-hmm. I believe Thanksgiving, guys. I believe it rotates year after year. You play an AFC team, an NFC team, an AFC team, an NFC team. Mm-hmm. So it has to be an AFC team this year, and it has to be one of your home games. So it's either going to be the Bills, Jags, or Titans. And I don't want the Titans. I want to
bring Will Levis into town. Yeah, then you can see what he's really about, Boone.
Get that ass whooped.
No,
I'll
go.
No.
All right, we'll go. And I'm going to be honest. The Vikings are next. I think they sweep the Vikings.
I do too.
So that's already that's a win for me.
I think the Packers at home is a win as well. I think on the road it's going to be a tougher game just because of Jordan Love and what they can do. But I think with the crowd versus a good quarterback, I think that's how you kind of settle down against a good quarterback sometimes is crowd noise, getting your fans involved, getting the bulge army involved, and you beat the Packers. I got a bulge.
Yeah, Booner's bulge says sweep, so I can't help but think it's going to be a sweep
for the Packers or the Vikings.
for the Vikings. But let's move on here. We got the Bills next at home. A little tougher. They just traded Stephon.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
This one I think will be good. I think Sean McDermott gets fired this year. So with him being fired, there might be some losses. Not saying they're going to lose a lot of games, but I think they'll be around 500.
Can I make a statement with the Bills too, real quick?
So this loss could very well happen.
I think the Bills, and I said this about 6 or 7 months ago. I thought Sean McDermott should have been out after the season. If they didn't, I think it's like one of those things to where you're stuck at a rut. And I genuinely thought, and I don't know where you got, like, I genuinely thought that if that job opened up, that was the Ben Johnson job. That was my original spot for Ben Johnson, was Buffalo with Josh Allen. And you guys know I love Ben Johnson. I love Josh Allen. That's where I thought that Ben Johnson was going to end up, was in Buffalo. If they ended up losing a big game in the playoffs, that Sean McDermott was done, then that was where he was going to go. And the other day, Jeff, I heard you and Adam talking about it on the Spaces, Ben Johnson going to Buffalo next year. And when I heard that, I was like, that's something I'm lockstep with that. Like, that is the perfect spot for him and Josh Allen. Because there was that argument throughout the season to where people were like, well, what would Josh Allen be like with Ben Johnson? Look what Jared Goff's doing with Ben Johnson. Josh Allen with Ben Johnson would be insane. Insane.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It's perfect.
So that's where I like that. I do think the Lions, I'm going to go.
Booner, this is two.
These are your two teams clashing.
Yeah. This is kind of conflict of interest. I mean, this
is
I'm tough
stuck right now because I can't have all wins at home. I'm gonna go win. I'm gonna go win here.
There you go.
I'm gonna go win.
So we move.
Yeah, I'm gonna say win.
There you go. I thought you already said win. That's my bad, Lucas.
No, you're fine. I just think the fact that they lost Stephon, all the pieces they lost on defense, they're gonna be trying running the ball with James Cook all year long. I think that's how they're gonna try to make their offense move. And with the Lions run defense adding DJ Reader, good luck. James Cook is he's a good back, but he's like 5'11", 185 pounds. Like he ain't running on the Lions run defense.
I mean, I will say this though. This is where I think a loss comes.
Okay,
I think Jacksonville sneaks up on them.
We're gonna have to find losses within here, and I think that's
Jacksonville sneaks up on them, and there's your loss.
Oh, you're saying Jackson? I thought you were saying the Bills. I say Jacksonville as well. I think the last time Jacksonville, I was at Ford Field when it happened. Jacksonville came into Detroit, and the Lions beat them by 30. And I think they remember that. I think Trevor Lawrence will remember that. And I think it's going to be a head-to-head matchup there. Jacksonville is going to be a lot better this year. They've added, they've upgraded. They're going to be a solid AFC team this year. I think they come in, and if I'm looking at these 9 home games, this is going to be one of the tougher ones just because of the quarterback. So I'm going to go loss.
So I disagree.
Where you at?
Their secondary is cooked. They lost Darius Williams. They're going to be losing. Who did they lose on their defensive line this year too? Can't think of it anyways. But they lost Calvin Ridley. I just think this is a team that's going to be good. But the Lions, I think, are just better on all 3 phases of the ball. And I understand they could sneak up on them. But the Lions are going to have the best home field advantage in football. And I just don't think it's going to be as easy for teams to sneak up on them. Like, I think the Lions, both the roster and just the atmosphere in Ford Field, I don't think the Jags are going to be a team to do it.
I'm very interested then. Like, there's 9 home games here, and I think the best 2 home teams you're playing are the Bills and Jaguars, and maybe the Packers. I don't
Rams too. I think the Rams.
I think they beat the Rams though. So like, I just don't like. Are we going to go 9-0 at home next year? That's my thing. Is I do think there's going to be a couple slip ups. To me, if there's one, it's going to be Bills or Jags. So that's why I kind of went 1-1 in those games there.
I mean,
what about the Rams?
That's where I think a loss comes. I think they lose to the Rams this year for sure. I think Matt Stafford's going to come in there. I think that team organically is another team each year that's going to get better, even though they have a veteran quarterback. And I think they get their revenge. It'll hurt, but be better than losing in the wild card game last year.
Yeah, you beat them in the playoffs, so it is.
I'm going to go win.
I'm going to go loss.
I'm going to go win.
I have them at 7-2 at home. So there's the 2 losses. I'm spoiling it, but yeah. So
I think
I don't see them losing another game at home. I think they win all 3, the next 3.
That's where I'm at with this.
I got them losing to the Bucks too.
You do.
Yeah, that's still the Bucks are just a nightmare matchup offensively for a lot of teams, and defensively they stop the run. I think that team is way more of a sleeper as a roster and just what they've done. You saw them in the playoffs this year than Jacksonville is. They're just a way more physical team. I think if they add another running back besides Rachaad White, that can be more of a bell cow. I know it's Baker there, but that's a game where if they just get hot for one game, they can beat any team in the NFL.
See, I'm disagreeing with you on that too.
Yeah.
They last year is as much as you want to say maybe the Bucks were back in the game for the play. Dude, the Lions just dominated both. Like it was just like those games. It felt like there was never a chance the Bucks were going to get back in, and like maybe a little bit. I just felt like I never really had like a fear of the Lions losing either one of those games. And like even the first one on the road, I think you were out both of your running backs at one point, like a quarter into the game. So
they beat them twice with all that shit. I mean,
and there's all these things going on at home behind the Lions crowd. I think it's, to be honest, I'm gonna be honest with you guys too here. Yeah, I think Ford Field's gonna be the toughest place to play football next year.
Yeah, that's all.
And I know there was hype last year. So I think, like, I just wrote down my records here. I think they end up, like Jeff said, they win these last 3 games there. And I think they end up being 8-1 at home. And I think it's like a massive home field advantage. Like if you want to get the 1 seed, guess what you have to do? You have to win your home games. And that is like the biggest thing. And I think people are going to look at Ford Field and they're going to be 8-1 at home going into the playoffs with the 1 or a 2 seed. And it's going to be tough to beat them in the playoffs too because of that. So I've got 8-1. I've got them winning the next 3 games.
You so Lucas, what do you have? 2 losses too? You have 7-2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So so I'll just add that then. Okay, so we have 7-2 at home. So we'll go to away. I have 7-2.
I've got 8-1.
You have 8-1. Yep. Which they're gonna have an amazing home schedule, regardless. I mean, it's like you said, Boone. I mean, I agree with you. I think we were saying that too at our former employer. I mean, after last year, I'm like, there's no way this place. Just the fans, man, they're starving. And now you got this hype. Sheesh.
I mean, there was only like how many losses last year were at home? I'm trying to think here. Like
I think they had Seattle and the Packers. I think they were 7-2.
7-2 at home, and like the Packers one, that was such a bit like you should have won that. You could have won that Seahawks game, and the Packers one was such a big slip up, man. And Thanksgiving, like you can't do that. So like they were that close of being undefeated.
6-2. Excuse me, 8 home games because they go to because they get 9 this year. That's my bad. 8
They're that close to being
6-2. They were 6-2.
Yeah, I'm going 8-1 this year.
So there you go. We'll go away. I'll be honest, fellas. I said it before. I think they split with the Bears and Packers. So these first 2 are L's for me.
I'm with you.
Because I think they split. So I'm going to go 2 losses for the first 2. Just get those out the way. Where are you at, Lucas? You agree with that one? Or think they sweep a team?
As far as what were you saying?
Or Packers
and Bears I think they split with the Bears and Packers.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they sweep the Vikings and then they'll split. I think they'll lose 2 games in the division again.
Dude, I don't think that's a bad thing either, guys.
No,
I think that's
NFC North is one of the better. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the division's just so good to where you're going to have some like tough battles now. It's not going to be like last year.
So yeah, those are, and then I have them beating the Vikings. So they sweep them. So there you go. There's the next game. In my opinion, I think we all agree there. Cardinals, Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., Maserati Marv, Clayton Tune. Yeah,
I think this is an easy win.
The Bulge Army won't let them. They're not winning that one. No way in hell.
No.
So that's a win for me. Unless Kyler Murray, unless Jonathan Gannon shots.
Cooks up. He cooks up.
No, he doesn't.
Trey McBride shreds the Lions secondary in the middle of the field.
Stop it, dude. So I have a win there as well. Or you guys agree with that one? They beat the Cardinals.
Yes. They better beat the Cardinals next year. That's the worst team they play.
I think they
probably is.
I think they get their lick back against the Cowboys.
So do I.
I think they whoop that ass on the road.
I'm not gonna lie.
That's another win.
That's gonna almost be like a playoff game to me, to where it's like that's a must win next year. You have to go beat Dallas. Like everything you have, go into that game and win. Like that is like, I don't know when it's going to be. I hope it's towards the end of the year, so that helps you get some momentum and some confidence. But dude, that is such a big game because of the hype of last year's game. When was the last time the Detroit Lions beat Dallas in Dallas? That's like, I would love if someone knows that and wants to throw that in the chat. I would love to know that, but it's just this whole Detroit Lions Dallas kind of, it's almost like a rivalry not being a rivalry. You have to go beat Dallas next year. I think they do it. Dan knows it too.
If they do, like Jeff's Junk says, that's one small step for Bulge, a giant leap for Bulge Kind.
Dude, this is great, dude.
Bulge Kind.
Oh my gosh, dude. How do you not like? I mean, this is hilarious. Okay. Well, I got to win. You guys agreed they beat the Cowboys. Yep. Okay. So we'll move on. The Texans
loss.
They lose. Yeah.
Yep. It's going to be on prime time too. It's going to suck, but it's going to be a great game, I think. But
I don't think they're not going to annihilate or nothing, but I think they lose a close one.
I think Texans are the 1 seed in the AFC next year for sure. I think it's hard for them not to be.
It's going to be a tough ass game, that one. Yeah. Jesus. And then the Colts, Anthony.
Whoa. Yeah. Let me answer my question over here with the Houston Texans. Let's not do that now.
What'd you think?
Jeffrey Junk?
Jeff's Junk, actually.
Jeff's Junk, sorry.
You think it's a win?
They win that football game. I think there's this thing with the Texans and Lucas. I don't hate your take that they're going to be the number 1 team in the AFC. I think it's just one of those things of they have these players now. They have everything. I love DeMeco Ryans too. I think he's one of the best in the NFL head coaches. It just screams to me, and I don't know if you guys get the same feeling. It screams to me that they just put all these guys together. Like Stephon Diggs is on this 1-year deal now. Danielle Hunter came. Like all of these guys are coming there now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like we don't know how it's gonna work. What happens if it goes in? It's one of those things to where it's a slow start and they don't have a chance at the 1 seed anymore. I think the Lions get the Texans. I think it's like, this is a playoff game. This is a tone setter. Go out there, win this football game, and go show the whole country. It's going to be Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, same as the Cowboys, same as probably like some of these other games or the 49ers. Go out there and win. The Detroit Lions as well, fellas, they win in prime time. They win in prime time.
Step up.
This is a primetime game. Dan's going to have them ready. Dan's going to say something to them before the game and they're going to go out there and they're going to put on a fight. And even though it's on the road, I think this is one of the big games that they steal. I do.
Okay. I love the confidence, Booner. I love the confidence.
I think they proved to the league. I think this is like, let's prove to the league what we can do.
Well, next game, they play the Colts on the road. I think they win. Anthony Richardson, I think his mobility will cause them problems, but no, yeah, I think they find a way to win this one. I do.
I'm going loss here. I think the Colts are a physical team. That's a classic sleeper game, in my opinion. They're a physical team. Shane Steichen, year 2, with that whole offense, their defense got better. They're going to add more talent in the secondary in the draft, and they'll probably add another wide receiver. And you talk about Michael Pittman, Josh Downs is going to create problem for any NFL defense. He's the same thing as Zay Flowers, essentially. And you had a 3-headed monster to go with Jonathan Taylor, to your point. I'm not locking it in, but I just think, what do we have, 1 loss on the road outside the division so far with the Texans? I think the Colts could definitely be a sleeper game.
Yeah, I don't hate that take, actually. I think the Colts, I just think Anthony Richardson, he's just a physical freak. I can see why he would cause problems. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But
I was going to go with Lucas here and say, like, this is one of those games where you just slip up. Like, there's going to be some of those games. It's like the Ravens and like this. There's just certain games like that. I don't know. I just think the Colts that's a game you should win if you're a good football team. And I think
the Chiefs lost to the Raiders.
Yeah, it's just a young quarterback. Like, you should get after him. The secondary, like, you should be able to put point. Give me the Lions. Give me the Lions.
So I'm gonna go win there. I'm actually gonna go win. And I think they get revenge on the 49ers.
I do too.
Mm-hmm. So that would be another one.
That's why I was like, I think they beat the Cowboys, and I think they beat the 49ers. Take a step back. They got another loss. That's why I said Colts too. What's up, Boone?
Take a step back for a second. You guys want to know something about the Booner Path? You guys want to know something about how football works, how life works, how things work in this world?
Hold on. Talk to me, Boone. What's up?
The Detroit Lions, everything comes with the story. Everything comes. Shout out Adam. Me and him talked about we talk about telling stories, dude. This is what's going to happen with the Detroit Lions heading into this year with the 49ers. They just came off losing. They were up 17 points, right? Below the lead, lose the NFC Championship game. We're all sad, blah, blah, blah. All the Lions fans, all of us, everyone that's on the Booner Path, we're all going to be going into this 49ers game, sitting there going, we need to win this football game. We need to show the world that we can beat this team. We can beat Shanahan. We can beat Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey. And guess what's going to happen? It's going to be prime time. And all of us are going to be, we're probably going to sit there and we'll be having a stream. We're going to be live on air. And everyone that's watching is going to watch our hearts get ripped out again. And we're going to lose.
So you think so?
And no, keep me up. And then the Detroit Lions, the Booner Path, the Bulge community, the Bulge Army, everything starts to come together, and the Detroit Lions get in the playoffs. And even though they lost to the 49ers, they still have the 1 seed because the 49ers will only win 12 games next year. And we will play them at Ford Field in the NFC Championship game. And the Detroit Lions, after losing 2 straight to the 49ers, will go on to beat the 49ers in the NFC Championship game to go to the Super Bowl. And that's exactly how it's going to happen. A lot of people think, oh, they're going to get their revenge in the regular season. They're going to go. I don't care about the revenge in the regular season. Guess what I care about? I want to see those fellas in the playoffs again, in the NFC Championship game again, at Ford Field.
And where else,
and I want to beat them.
And where do you want it? Where after that? Where do you want to see him, Boone? Where do you want to see him playing in?
The NFC Championship game.
And then after that?
Oh, and then the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl. And they're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
And then they win that game. What happens? What are they hoisting?
The Lombardi Trophy, baby. That's the end of the Booner Path. That's what we're going to do. I'll take it. Everyone put an L next to that 49ers game. We're giving them the W. We're going to give them the L in the playoffs. That's exactly how it happens. So everyone thought for a second I was just giving them a loss to give them a loss. No, there's a story. The NFL loves a good story. They love to keep saying they can't beat this team. They can't do it. They can't do it. Guess what? NFC Championship game, Ford Field, the whole Bulge Army's in attendance, the Booner Path Army and all those guys are in attendance, and we go out there and we beat them to go to a Super Bowl, and we watch Shanahan lose out again, and guess what? He might just, I'm not going to say he gets fired, but, you know, I've got a runny nose.
You know what?
Shanahan gets booted.
He's one of the best in the league, but that man can't win. If he loses the NFC Championship game, that man just cannot get a Super Bowl. It's just like there's a block there for him.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough.
You know what? You know what, fellas? This is what we're gonna do. Sheila Hamp, Sheila Hamp. We need to designate a section of Ford Field for specifically the Bulge Army. Like have a section, but behind the Lions bench, all Bulge Army. You got Brad Holmes,
assigned seats. It has little note cards that says Brad Holmes Bulge.
Yep.
What was Craig Reynolds?
Craig Reynolds Rod.
Yeah, the Craig Reynolds Rod, etc.
Yep.
They'll be all right there.
Mm-hmm. That's my pitch. Listen, it's assigned seating. They'll go 17-0. You fucking kidding me?
They almost a blink. They'll travel too. Get them their own private jet behind the Lions jet, like the team travels, and then you see behind it the Bulge jet goes up. Make sure that shit is in Spirit. Give them Delta first class. They deserve the best.
It's like the it's like when when someone important rolls in like a they got like the Sprinter van and they're obviously with the team it'd be like a bus. There's just cars all around. It's all the Bulge members just making sure they're good.
It's like, you ever seen like Clemson for week 1, like their pregame where they ride around the stadium in a bus, and then it's always Dabo running down the hill without that. That'll be Dan leading the Bulge Army in the Ford Field.
All right, I will be honest. This one is out of pocket. Aiden's anal impaler.
Oh my gosh!
That's crazy.
What is your?
That's
crazy feeling.
What is your guys' records?
That's a tech.
It's a tech. Yeah, throw the flag on the play. That one, you throw the flag.
I'm changing the subject after that. What are the records?
He said we put the D in Detroit.
It's a tough one.
Oh my
Hey,
God.
let me try to find it though. Eduardo had a question since we're just on the schedule real quick. If I can find
What are your guys' records? What did you guys end up with?
So I'm trying to think.
Let me go through. We got a member. We got some members. We got
gotcha.
some.
Yeah, I'll
we
find
got
that
some
in the
donations.
meantime.
We got Gibbs for $6. Thank you for the $2. Says there isn't a funnier fan base than the Lions. I agree with that.
Elite, man.
No question. I agree with that. Thank you for the $2, brother. I appreciate you. Dante151 just became a Crunch member as well. Dante, thank you for renewing your membership. Thank you, brother,
Appreciate
for that.
You said, brother.
You were looking for what, Lucas? What'd you find?
Yeah. So Eduardo, he said, which one of the road games screams Lions stinker to you guys? I already said the Colts, but I can't remember if you guys had like a stinker on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I
by default Chicago.
I think it could be the Texans too. Like it's just one of
those. You think that's a stinker though? You think it's a stinker?
I'll go the Bears. Bears on the road. The weather, it always makes it's tough. It's tough to play.
They always struggle
sometimes.
there.
Yeah, it's a tough place to play sometimes. So I'll go with the Bears. But I don't know if it'll be a stinker. But if I had to pick one, I will lean the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Record time.
Records.
So, Boone, you go first. We'll go you, me, and then Lucas. What record you
get
at the end of the pick?
I had us going 8-1 at home, 5-3 on the road, 4-2 in the division, and in the season with the loss to the 49ers, I have the Detroit Lions going 13-4 next season, winning 13 football games.
So I had them losing to go ahead, Jeff. While I do this math in my head right quick.
Well, I had 12-5. So I had 12-5, 7-2 at home. On the road, what would that be like? 5-3? I get 5-3. I think 3 losses. So, but still, you end up with 12-5. I had the same division record as you, Boone. We all picked the same division record. So that's what I came up with, 12-5.
So I'd have been 7-2 at home, and then I had them losing to the Colts, the Texans, the Packers, and the Bears. So that would be what, 6? 11-6?
4 losses.
Yeah, 11-6.
11
Which I think like they could swing and win the Colts game or something like that, but I don't think even 11-6 with the division that they have, they're still, I think that's without a doubt a playoff team, and you're still in a potential case to win the Super Bowl.
Again,
I don't think that's terrible.
I think you're in a good spot. Like you can go to the playoffs and still win games. But remember when we talked about this a couple of weeks ago? 11-6 season, and this might be like we just won, and maybe I don't know the word I'm looking for here, but 11-6 is a disappointing season to me. I think it has to be 12 or 13 wins, just because the fact, like I said a couple of weeks ago, is my expectation going into this season is win the division again. And I don't know if 11 games is a lock to win the division and the division you're in. And number 2, your expectation is to go get the 1 seed. That's where I'm at. You should go get a 1 seed and you should win your division. And I think it's 12 games at least to win the division and compete for a 12 or a 1 seed. And I think 13 games will get you the 1 seed next year. And that's a lock to win your division. So that's where I'm a little bit 11-6 is a disappointing year to me. So that's why I think 12-13, it has to be that next year.
Yeah, and that's something which it's okay. I mean, it's not the end of the world. We disagree just based on because your expectation is the number 1 seed. Mine is just win the division. So like 1 seed is valuable. I'm not even going to argue that. So I get what you're saying.
Obviously, if they're in the battle for the 1 seed and they get the 2, I'm not going to say it was a failure of a year. Like it was disappointing, but fight for it. Be in that race.
For example, if let's say Jared Goff, knock on wood, goes down for 2 games. And they lose 2 games, but he comes back in the end of the season like 11-6. But Jared's back healthy, or Panay goes down, he's back healthy. Like so many injuries. The Lions have been pretty lucky. I know they've lost some guys, but some teams that just get devastated with injuries. They've avoided major injuries. Like you got to take that into account too, where maybe a game or 2 because of some guys that are out. If things happen in the NFL, like I want them to win the division, number 1. But let's say they do, but they win like 12 games. And they don't get the 1 seed. Just get in the playoffs, man. That's all. Just get in the playoffs.
It's just I don't know. To me, it's like last year, your expectation was win the division, and win a playoff game. And to me, it's like it feels like that's lifted up. You just would. It's not like you just won a playoff game and you won the division. You dominated the division and you went to the NFC Championship game and should have been in the Super Bowl. And you're adding pieces. You're getting better. Things are like your coordinators are coming. Everything's working out for you. I feel like that expectation needs to be raised a little bit more. And I don't know. That's just where I'm at with it. It's like it has to come up a little bit. That. And fans and people should hold this team accountable a little bit more this year to where it's, hey, we want to go win a Super Bowl this year. And on top of that, that means your expectations is go win your division and go compete for the 1 seed and try and get a first round bye.